here today with some fine friends from Palliative Care, which I think is probably one of the best organizations around. We'll get started by asking, now you're one of the newer members of Palliative Care.
Yes.
What drew you to Palliative Care?
Okay, well, my friend Carolyn Janega, I had just finished a 3-year volunteer commitment, and I was looking for something else to do. And my friend Carolyn said, you know, you might enjoy the Strait Regional Palliative Care Society. And I said, well, you know, I'm not a medical person. I've never worked at the hospital. I don't know anything about medicine, or I don't know anything about palliative care. I said, you know, even coping with grieving is kind of like, you know, a very individual thing. So how could I be an asset? And she said, well, they're a really good group of people. She said, you should just try it. So I did. I put my name in, and I gave Nancy Cameron my contact information, and she invited me to come to a meeting. And it was every bit even better than what she said, because the people are very positive. There's jobs to do that have nothing to do with medical. And yeah, so that's really what drew me in, was a positive group of people who are doing positive things in our own community.
Yeah, because a lot of people probably think that, you know, when they hear palliative care, they probably think that it's just about the hospital and that part, but
and sitting by somebody.
They think that we are providing palliative care, and we're not.
Right, you're
we
supporting.
support
Right.
the people that give the palliative
Right,
care.
and I mean, the beautiful thing about that is, I'm sure that, you know, we've all had friends and family members that have passed away and have been in palliative care. I mean, we've all experienced, most of us have experienced that. But I think that, you know, it would be a little ray of sunshine to see something different than, you know, hospital monitors and, you know, and it's that behind the scenes stuff that, you know, people don't realize how important that might be.
That's a really good point, Becky, because a lot of people still believe palliative care is something that you call in when a person's on their very last days, because it's about helping someone die, when really palliative care is about helping people live the best they can.
Correct.
Until they die.
Right.
And that moment that
And
you
people
shared.
used to think, I don't think as much anymore, but they used to think that when you were referred to palliative care, that meant there was no hope left. And that's not true either. As a matter of fact, it's the opposite. But
There are actually people that enter palliative care and start to improve and then withdraw from the program for a while and might return to it when things change.
Right.
That's a perspective people often don't think about.
It's all about quality of life, though, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And you know, it's the greatest gift you could give somebody, making them comfortable and happy. I don't see any downside to being involved. Like, I mean, you think of all the people out there, the volunteers. The volunteers in the area, I'm finding that a lot of older people now are doing all the volunteering. That's unfortunate. But I do know that I was a single parent at one point in time in my life, and I know it's difficult sometimes to get involved because you don't have the time. You have what you call comfort tea.
Yes.
So tell me about comfort tea.
Well, Comfort Tea we'll have our 3rd anniversary this September. We started September 2023, and we've now done 11 Comfort Teas since that time. We had gone to a presentation in Antigonish from the Provincial Society, and that's when the province was trying to address grief issues in Nova Scotia through the recommendations from the Mass Casualty Commission coming out of COVID. There were a lot of disasters that happened in Nova Scotia really close together. And one of the positive things from those is Nova Scotia has become a bit of a leader in paying attention to grief and trying to help people recognize their grief and find ways to deal with it and be healthier because of that. So our way of supporting that was to do a comfort tea. Our first one was in St. Peter's, and a comfort tea is we get together for a couple hours. We have lots of good homemade treats. When we do it, we talk about grief in general. So a lot of people who come are people who have had a loss, a death. But that's not the only type of losses we have in life. The loss can be an empty nest experience. It can be losing a home. It can be a long-term illness, retirement, or a change in your job.
Losing a pet.
Losing
Yeah.
a pet.
Really.
We all, changes in relationships, changes in your faith. There are all types of losses throughout our lives. The older we get, the more we experience them. And so for a comfort tea, we just spend a few minutes just talking about those different types of losses so that people feel open to talk about whatever their experience are.
And I think it's become more so, people are becoming, and there's a result of those types of teas and comfort teas and those conversations, people have become more comfortable talking about death.
I believe so.
Oh,
yeah.
I've noticed
I think
it.
so.
Yeah.
And I think it's fantastic.
And we notice the people who come, and some people choose not to speak, and that's fine too, but they leave and say, I didn't say anything, but I really got a lot out of this, and I feel better because I came. So we've made a commitment that we will keep these going. Our society covers Richmond and southern Inverness counties. So we've decided we'll do 2 in each county twice a year. So 2 in the spring and 2 in the fall. And our last spring one will be in Discouse, Tuesday the 16th at 1:30. And the comfort teas are unique enough. We were asked to speak at the provincial conference, the Provincial Palliative Care Conference in Bridgewater in May, and did a presentation. And there were people leaving from other parts of the province, the Bedeck area and Pictou and Yarmouth, who are considering doing their own comfort teas.
Well, I sure hope they do, because it's very important. You know, people that are, my mother prepared me for her death before she died, you know, and we had quite a few laughs about it, to be honest with you, because she had that,
of course.
you know, I remember her telling me that, you know, explaining to me how to take care of her remains. Once she passed, she wanted to be cremated, and she had given me a whole list of things I had to do. And she said, okay, so you send me here, and they'll cremate me, and then your uncle can pick me up on the way to the funeral, and then she said, he'd give you my ashes, and then you can give them to me. And I said, well, I got a problem there, Mom. You're not going to be here. She laughed. We had a good laugh about that.
Yeah.
I said, she was so used to taking care of everybody else, she's going to take care of her own ashes. It was kind of funny. But I mean, you know.
Yeah.
And the truth is,
But
I
you
mean,
had the
what's really
conversation.
Yes, we
wonderful
did.
about the comfort teas is, yes, sometimes there are tears, and
But,
sometimes there are sad things, but there's a lot of laughter too.
Well, yes.
And it's just very, I think what it is that it helps people realize I'm not alone.
Correct.
What I'm experiencing, other people experience as well, you know? And it's a universal thing. We don't stop to think about it, but it's like birth. We all experience it, and it's just part of life.
Correct.
But a lot of times, I think there's been a lot of denial of death, and I don't want to talk about it, I don't want to think
Fear.
about it. I think Woody Allen was one that said, I don't mind the thought of death, I just don't want to be there when it happens. So, you know, but I think the more you think about it and talk about it, the more comfortable you get with it, and you don't fear it as much.
Well, I think that for me, it was, you know, Mom was really ill for a long time. But I remember her calling me on the phone one day, and she said, you know, I'm upset with you. And I said, well, what did I do this time? And she said, well, nobody will talk to me about dying, and I wish somebody would. But I think that everybody has a different way, of course, of dealing with things, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, and some people are afraid to die.
And if you give those openings, you find out how the
That's
person
right.
is feeling
That's right.
about it. And
Right.
I think one of our favorite reactions from a comfort tea, there's a gentleman who's come to 4, if not 5 of them. And when we asked him about why he chooses to come back, he said it feels like home,
Oh, that's
which we just thought was perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
what a
Exactly.
slogan.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What a slogan.
Yeah.
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 Come to comfort tea. It feels like home.
Yeah.
That's
And you know,
That's
like
beautiful.
the name of it is so important.
Yes.
It's comfort tea. Come for tea.
absolutely.
But you get comforted
Beautiful.
while you're there.
I might start going myself.
Well, you should.
You're
I
welcome.
could.
It also is aptly named because it helps people feel more comfortable to discuss these things.
You also provide support for staff, sort of. Like, what do you do there? Like, you spend time with people, or
We don't directly do the volunteering with patients, but we support the palliative care team
Right.
that work at the hospital,
Right.
a wonderful group of people.
Yeah.
And so a big role of the society is to provide the funds when people are making donations. Some of that money is going towards equipment like bed lifts,
Yeah.
chairs, even if family needs help with gift cards to get people to appointments. Any type of equipment request, the team will let us know what a family might need to help get them through, and we will help with that funding. We provide funding for the staff to go to education events, because that's very important to keep up on the things that are happening. And then there's physical things at the hospital. So we had recently renovated 2 patient rooms to make them more comfortable for families, and it's on our books this coming year to do 2 more rooms. And those rooms don't always have palliative care patients in them. Sometimes other people get to benefit from being able to be in those rooms that are more comfortable. We recently spent money to renovate the gathering place across from the nursing station, which has a kitchen area and TV and relaxation area, which again, all patients and families at the hospital can use, but just to make it more comfortable and accessible to people. And then also at the hospital, there's a family room that Louise is involved with.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. We stocked the family room with tea and coffee, granola bars, and Kleenex, and just anything that maybe the hospital doesn't need to. We have chosen to do that as an organization. It's a very well done room. The room is a very nice room to be in now, and for people, it gives them a nice little respite if they're not in the room with their loved one, to be able to sit and take a breather.
Yep.
We even put a phone charger in there to help people if they're, if it works for their phone, to charge up their phone and communicate with their family. So yeah, it's a nice little spot to be there, be close, and
So you also deal with flowers, don't you?
yes.
Is that a passion?
No, I wish I could say it was. You know what? I love flowers. But I love being outside, and I
Right.
like gardening. I'm not knowledgeable.
Well, you'll
but
get there.
when you work with people, this is the idea of teamwork. The people are like a little subgroup of the Strait Regional Palliative Care Society do work on the memorial garden. And the memorial garden we're trying to make it an attractive place for the people that work at the hospital, the people that are in the hospital, and people that are just going in for tests. When they walk by, they say, "Oh, isn't that pretty?" Somebody cares.
Well, yeah, and it also, takes your mind off of things that may be bothering you.
That's right.
There's
And
nothing better than going to a greenhouse, for
I know.
example.
Yeah.
There's another little flower-related activity we have too.
Oh, sunflower.
No, not sunflowers. About 2 years ago, I guess, there were a couple of funerals back to back that were big funerals, and there were a lot of flowers left over after the funeral. And the families involved said they didn't want the flowers. So they contacted us, did we want the flowers? So we took the flowers, and you know what funeral displays are like. They're big and,
They're huge.
are huge. And so we took them to my house, actually, myself and a couple of others in the committee. We took them all apart. We got what do you call those jars?
Mason jars.
Mason jars. We got mason jars, and we did up little bouquets.
Perfect.
Probably 22 bouquets each time. Take them out to the hospital and give them out to the patients that are there. And we've done that now, I would say, and the thing is, we're not always getting flowers from the funeral homes, but now what we do is we'll go out and buy flowers at Sobeys or at Superstore, right? And so we're going to be doing them on the 30th again, myself and 2 other members. And we do the flowers, and we go out and bring them out to the patients, and they just love them.
I think that's wonderful.
They just love them.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, flowers are always appreciated and enjoyed by everybody.
Well, I think that I would like to someday create this might sound ridiculous. I'd love to have a little plot of land where anybody who wanted to be a tree could be buried, could be put in a tree thing, like in the bulb of the tree, and we could have like a forest of remembrance. I think that's how I would
You're
like
singing to the choir now.
I would love to do that.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that
Let
be
me know if you
beautiful?
do it.
Oh, listen, I'm thinking that it's a great idea, don't
It
you?
is.
Because you can do that now. You can put
know.
your.
I know.
I think I just
know.
love the idea of have
Yeah.
a forest of remembrance. To me, that's just perfect. You could be surrounded by all kinds of people
Yeah.
that you loved.
There's actually a Green Cemetery Society in the
Oh,
province.
yes.
And,
Yes.
and I know there's at least one official Green Cemetery outside of Halifax towards St. Margaret's Bay. I
Yeah.
haven't visited yet, but yeah.
I think that'd be great.
Yeah, I saw something on television about that. People are not embalmed, and they're put either into a shroud or a wooden box.
Yep.
And it's so you return to nature naturally.
And so you have. I was going to say that you have the advanced care planning. That's you.
Yeah, well, Nova Scotia Hospice Association put together this program. And Nancy Cameron and I took a program online. It was a course that we had to take to do it. And now we are able to go around to groups, and I think we've done 3, 4, and we're doing one in Lakeville later in June. So basically what it is talking to people about getting ready to think about what kinds of things they would want to have in the event of an illness or their, death. So any kind of a big change, and it fits in with other planning that we do during our lives. For most of us, you're an adult, you get a job, you get a house, you get a partner, you go make a will, you have children, then you think about, what kind of plans do I want to have for my children if I should die. So this is part of that planning. It's thinking about what the things are that are important to you, what your values are, and what you would like to see, what you would like to have. So what's important is for people to think about it, make a plan, put it in writing, choose a designated care provider in case you can't speak for yourself. And this person only speaks for you if you can't speak for yourself. Let that person know that they're the designated care provider, and let other people in your family know, and have the plan in a place where everybody knows that it is. So that, let's say, for example, I live alone, and if I had to call 911 because I was having chest pain, I should have that in a place that when they come through the door to get me, I can say, go get that, it's in the kitchen or wherever it is, So, and your healthcare provider, your doctor or nurse practitioner should also know about it. So advanced care planning is something that's really important to do, and it gives people a lot of ease of mind. Like you don't need to worry anymore. And it's also something you can revisit it over time and change it. I changed my mind. I don't want this. I think I'd like to have that. And it's not so much a grocery list of, I don't, like a lot of people will say, I don't want to be on life support or whatever. It's not that kind of thing so much. It's the kind of things you'd like to have in your environment and around you and done to you at the end of your life. So what kind of music do you like? Who do you want to be with you? Who do you not want to be with you? Those kinds of things. So, and there's a very good booklet that the province has made. So we have them in their English and French. I don't know if there's one that's in Mi'kmaq. I don't think there is. So we bring them with us, and it's a very enjoyable thing to do.
Not only is it enjoyable, it was really helpful. I actually filled one of these out.
Yeah. It's a good booklet, isn't it?
Oh, it was great. I think in my case, I kept thinking, I've got 3 children. Are they going to argue about?
That's another thing too.
So for
this
me,
helps prevent
For me,
arguments.
it was really great to tell them in advance. Okay, here's this book. I'm going to leave it with one of you,
Yeah.
the one that's most reliable.
You can make copies of it too.
So this is what I want.
Yeah.
I don't want you guys arguing with each other about what you think you want.
Yeah.
It's what I want.
That's right.
So I found it extremely helpful.
Yeah.
Because as we all know, there are always problems sometimes when people, especially when people are dying, The family members all think they know better.
Well, and not only that,
they mean
it's a
well.
very stressful time.
Of course it
Like
is.
if somebody is in an accident or they suddenly have a stroke or something like that. And I, as a nurse, I've seen this many times. The stress causes people sometimes to fall out where they wouldn't necessarily fall out, you know, to disagree or whatever. And so if it's all written out in black and white, it just takes that level away. It makes it a lot easier for people. And it's easier, like for the person that's the designated decision maker, they can say, you know, Mom told me this is what she wants, and so I have to do what she said. And, you know, it's not really whether we agree with it or not, it's what she wanted.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And that's what I see it. I mean, we've all seen that, right? Where you have two members of one family who,
Yeah.
you know, no, I want, but it's not about what you want. I remember taking that book home with me and reading it and thinking, oh, this is so much better than even a will.
It is.
Because
Yeah.
it's more a personal thing. Like a will is okay, yeah, I want to leave this to so and so. That is totally different. Because when I
This is
die, I
about
want
your
Spirit in the
values.
Sky played in the church, you know,
Yeah.
kind of like a rock and roll girl.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's what I want.
Yeah.
It's just, to me, that's a wonderful tool.
Yeah.
And it gives that clarity. I remember a lady
Absolutely,
talking about her
yeah.
mother often had conversations with her, but always would just say, well, you know what I want.
Right.
Well, you know what I
Yeah.
like.
Well, you don't.
And when they sat down and had the conversations, she said, my mother was coming up with things that I wouldn't have thought of.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, I think the only one we did in Richmond County so far was the one in Lewisdale.
Yep.
But, you know, we're certainly open to coming to any groups that would like for us to come. You know, we're pretty flexible.
You did a really good job in Louise.
Well, thank you.
I was there.
It was a lovely group.
It was, actually.
But, you know, they're all lovely groups.
Of course they are.
Yeah.
And I mean, you also have a great deal of support in Richmond County, correct?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Amazing support in Richmond County. That's
Tell-
been here for
tell
years
about
and
it.
years and years. You know, we have people like Daniel LeBlanc that's
I
at the
know.
Nest.
I know.
We just, every once in a while, a check shows up and you know, and it's coming from Daniel, but it's coming from everybody that's there.
Well, very important to note that.
support that.
Very important to note that, because there are musicians that do a lot of that type of work. And it's very important to make sure that everybody realizes that it's not just one musician. Usually,
Yeah.
it's a group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think what Daniel does is great, fantastic. And then, I mean, you've got Celeste Hotel too, with the
That's
Seniors
right.
Coalition. You're never going to get a stronger partner than
Yeah.
that. I don't
Always
believe.
promoting things, and Richmond, the municipality
they're
steps
great.
up every year
Of
to
course.
support us, and we get such great feedback from them.
course.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, because you're not a group that's spending money willy-nilly,
No.
as we would say.
And that's another thing. We are very careful about how we spend the money.
right.
Because we're mindful of the fact that it's people, sometimes it's $5 and $10 that people are donating. So we're not willy-nilly about it, but we do support a lot of local things that people
right.
may not realize.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things that was recently, I can't remember the name of it now, was it the VON? What
Yeah,
was
the closet.
The closet. What
Yes.
was that?
Supporting the supply closet for
Yeah.
families that
Yeah,
need
so
some
we
extra
made a
support.
donation to them, which is not directly our mandate, right?
Right,
But it's
but-
an important thing. It supports our patients.
It benefits
in the end.
people who are in need. And,
Yeah.
And
yes,
that's what you
yes.
guys do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can't really, I mean, you're not going to be able to always, you can't put everybody in
No.
a shoebox
Yeah.
anyway. Everybody's so different, right? Every family.
And you live in a semi-rural area where everybody knows everyone else pretty well. And, you know, we work together. It's a team, you know?
I was going to say too, and I don't know if Mary or Stephen have said, that not everybody is in palliative care in the hospital.
Right.
As a matter of fact,
That's-
yeah, a lot of
and
the
that-
patients are at home.
That's where Richmond County stands out.
Oh, yes.
Of the many people would wish to die at home, but nationally and provincially, it ends up that only about 11% of people die at home. Here in Richmond County, it's typically 40 to 50%. And,
Imagine.
And you know that can only happen when there's community support, there's family support, there's professional support. It takes a lot for
Yeah.
people to be able to die at home, and yet this community can pull together and make it happen.
I think
for
it's
a
so
lot of
wonderful, and
families.
I don't know if it might be a part of the culture. as
Yeah,
It is
I
as
think
well.
you're
yeah,
right. I
yeah.
think you're right.
Because, I mean, you have Acadian families, for example, I'm going to use them, and Scottish families are very family, you know,
Yeah.
they're, so that I can understand that. I can get that.
And again, semi-rural communities are used to supporting one another.
course, because
you know,
you
they're
have to.
used to helping one another out.
You have to. I mean, we live in a place where in the winter it storms so bad, sometimes you can't get out of your driveway, and then you're going to see some young buck coming up the road with a plow, and he
Yeah.
plows you out, and
Yeah.
it's like, phew, you know, there's that kind of stuff. But I
Yeah.
mean, I think it's great to know that you live in a community like this.
Yeah.
But like you say, it's not all like this. 50%, 40 to 50%, that's quite
It's
large.
huge.
That's
It's huge.
large.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
But I think that a lot of the, you know, I mean, a lot of the workshops, et cetera, that are put on for the seniors are great. I mean, they're very informative. Also speaks to, you know, isolation. Isolation's big. I know because I get calls here from older people who want somebody to talk to.
And truthfully, isolation in seniors is one of the things that very quickly ends life.
Of course.
You know, like studies have shown that the more active seniors are physically, but also mentally and socially. The social part is really important.
You know, you can tell when you go into a nursing home, for example, and you have an instrument in your hand, and you play the songs that older people know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I do. I don't go in there and sing things they don't know. I always do my research, kind of look at the age group and think, let's go back to 1950, see what I can find. I remember going one time to the nursing home. I love singing in the nursing homes. And I brought a bunch of shakers and stuff with me. And I said, here you go. And they were like, they're playing along. It's great. And they were singing every word. And this lady said to me as I was leaving, she said, you know, dear, she said, most days, she said, we sit and we listen to the music. It's lovely, but we don't know the songs. She said, but today we rocked. I said, you certainly did. It's like, I love that. That's, to me, is wonderful. You know, and I mean, you go into the hospitals, and I think that a lot of people get scared when you say the word palliative care. I get it, right? But like you say, it doesn't always mean that you're dying. You know,
We're all dying.
We're all dying.
We're all dying, yes.
But we're not. But not at that moment.
At times,
No.
we need help to live better.
Yes,
Yes.
that's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what's the point of living to be really, really old if your days are not good days?
Right.
You know.
If you have no quality of life, you have no life. That's what I believe. I believe that. I mean, you know,
True.
we all. I thank people every day for trying to make my life easier. But it's up to me to take care of myself, advocate for myself. But then you've got a group of people like you guys who care. You know, and I mean that's important to know that there's people out there that care. You know, I mean, what about the people that are elderly and have nobody? Well, palliative care to them, it would be a godsend.
Yeah.
You know, to know that there's people there that care. Yeah, and I mean, we're all humans. We all require some sort of
Connection.
We have
You
to
need
have
a
it.
connection.
So now, speaking of connections, how do you put your word out there? How do you advertise yourself?
Well, we have a Facebook page. So that's probably our most any activities going on. And our Facebook page gets updated pretty regularly. We have a website which has more general information on it. And it's always great to have the local media involved, whether it's you folks or
Well, we're always here for you.
Thank you.
That's always.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, do you find that a lot of people, like a lot of the older people, don't look at social media?
Well, yeah, and you have to be aware of that. Like when we advertise our comfort teas, there's
Yeah,
still a lot of putting
absolutely.
posters up on bulletin
Oh, yes.
boards, and we'll get that feedback. Someone will say, I was in the post office and I
Right.
kept seeing your sign, and I thought that meant I probably should go if
Yeah.
I kept noticing it.
The other thing too is I actually preach this subject a lot to people. They'll say, oh, you know, we were having this online meeting and hardly anybody showed up. And I said,
Yeah,
well, you're talking to seniors. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, it's kind of, you're saying, all right, a lot of seniors the affordability factor, you know. I said, so you're saying that seniors can't afford to buy the internet, but yet you want them to take internet courses. So,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I mean,
There's a bit of a disconnect.
there is a bit of a disconnect, and I notice it here especially because Telile has always we advertise for free for nonprofits, okay? But now I have nonprofits that don't even bother sending us information because they think everybody's on Facebook. Well, they're not.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
not.
They are not.
that's very true.
And yeah.
Yeah.
And we do find with something like the comfort tea, I think the best thing is word of mouth.
I was just going to
Absolutely.
say the
Because
very same thing.
You
Yeah.
see a poster and you still don't know what exactly is that, and it's about loss and grief. Doesn't necessarily sound like a fun afternoon, even if they are feeding me. So I think, you know, for people to come and experiencing it and tell their friends what exactly it is.
Exactly.
Most of the people who
and
come have
sometimes
some
people will come and they'll say, I came because my friend came the last time and she was telling me about it, or he was, you know. So, and we do get people that come back. And yeah.
Well, I know that.
I tell you, they're the most enjoyable things you can ever attend.
Of course, because you get to talk about something that you really need to talk about with people who are going to talk with you.
And often things that other people may not want to hear. That one of the themes that I've noticed over the years is, you know, we hear so much about if we've experienced a death, the first year's the hardest. The more you talk to people, a lot of people say, the first year wasn't the hardest. I'm still struggling years later. There's still my moments.
Yeah.
And we'll often have people who come and might say something like, my husband died 10 years ago. I still miss him, but nobody wants to hear that anymore.
Nobody even talks about it anymore.
People just get on with your life. That's in the past. Fine. So for people to be able to come and just
Talk about it.
just talk about it and not be judged for it, not be given advice. Just
Yeah.
come and talk.
Yeah.
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 You know, and I know that there are so many people out there that really need to talk about it. So yeah, for you guys to give that space is
It sort of
beautiful.
gives people permission to
Well,
talk
yeah,
about it
absolutely,
too.
yeah.
You know, like I'd like to talk about it, but I don't know who to talk about it about. And like one of the things that came up is when we're talking about losses that we've had through death. Most people are really happy to hear you talk about their dead loved one, even if they died 5, 10, or 15 years ago. You know, if you say to them, I remember I had this experience with her, and you know, I have a sister who died 25 years ago who was a teacher. And every now and then I still run into people that say she was the best teacher I ever had, you know, and they'll start talking about her and it makes me feel so good. You know, so people like to hear those things.
Kind of like Cyril McPhee's song. What is it? I don't know if it's his song, but I should say, We Remember You Well.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
We'll
And we have talked about seniors a lot, and that is one thing about our teas. So far, they've always been in the afternoon, so that limits the number of people that can come. That
Are still working.
Several of us got to go speak at the community college the other year to the social services classes. And most of the people in those classes were people that were probably 20 to 25 years old. And the amount of loss that people of that age group have experienced, whether it be through death, through a parent or a grandparent, but illnesses. They lived through COVID, the things in the world. So it's really important to remember that grief affects everybody of every age. You can have children in elementary school that lose a classmate, and those kids are grieving.
Yeah.
So it's really important to recognize that loss and grief affects us throughout our entire lives.
Yeah, and I think it's also really important to understand that we need to understand that everybody deals with grief and death differently.
Differently, absolutely.
You know, I know that I have young people in my life, a lot of them around me all the time, and I've noticed in the last few years, a few have lost friends. You know, whether it be through overdose or natural causes. And their reaction at first was, to me, it was like, why are you guys reacting like that? And then I realized, like, wait a second, they're young. And they've not experienced the amount of grief that you have, perhaps are not quite ready for it or were not prepared for it. So I've often had to step back and think, you know, oh, well, I got to be a little more understanding about this because this is a real
I think the first
problem.
experience of grief can be really profound.
Right. Yeah.
You know, when you go through your life, the first time you experience, let's say, the death of somebody very close to you, that can really, I know for me, it changed my life
Yep.
moving forward. You know, like it's very profound. And it colors how you see the world and how you relate to other people and your work, your relationships. So it is, and for young people, like I wasn't that young when I experienced that. I was 35. But people, like you're right, children, school-age children or teenagers, and because it doesn't happen very often among that group of people, or not as often, a lot of times people don't know how to deal with it. And I think for a lot of times too, people just assumed that children didn't grieve the way we do.
Yes, they do. Oh my
Well,
gosh,
I know they
worse.
do,
Oh,
but
yeah.
people would think, well, if we don't talk about it, they'll be okay.
Oh,
You know.
it's the wrong answer.
Yeah, I know.
You know,
I
and
know.
yeah, wrong answer.
But I think for the longest time, that was the attitude adults had. If we talk about it, it'll make them cry, and it'll only hurt them more. But that's not true.
No, honesty is the best
Yeah.
policy. I mean,
Yeah.
we learn that as we get older. You know, things are not the same as they used to be, right?
Yeah.
Everything is different
No.
now. You know, we've got AI, AI to tell us how we feel.
Yeah.
I don't
One
like
thing,
AI.
one thing I learned at one of the education days was your grief is yours.
Right.
And my grief is mine. And you and I may grieve differently.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's exactly
Yeah.
it. I mean, I really, really, maybe because I'm so used to dealing with it now, you know, as we get older and we've lost a lot of family members, friends, or whatever, you know, I'm able to now, you know, with a younger person who's lost somebody, have a lot more empathy. Because I know that it shapes them.
Yeah,
I know
it
it
does.
because
It
it
does.
shaped me. It shapes
Yeah,
everybody. So
of course.
you know.
Of course.
Yeah. So talk to me about the Sunflower Day. What's that about?
Sunflower Day is it's a national event for awareness and fundraising, but primarily awareness. So that's been an activity. Jeanette Jeffries, our coordinator, she has been for a few years now. So Jeanette always gets our places lined up. We always have a few tables in Richmond County, Lewisdale and Arishat and St. Peters and in Port Hawkesbury. So it's a great day to just get our name out there, provide people with some information. And this year was another successful one. I think we took over in around $2,500
Wow.
in donations
Yeah.
that day.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So
And
it's-
again, you're looking at like $5 and $10 donations,
Yeah,
you know.
that just
Every
add up.
every
Yeah.
dollar counts.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Every dollar counts.
Exactly. We don't have the chocolates anymore, but we had chocolates for a while.
We've provided, yes, Cindy Walker has been great to give us, she found molds in the sunflower shape, and we've
Aw,
used them for
that's lovely.
gifts at Christmas time for
That's
the hospital and
so
long-term care and VON people. It's really important to recognize
Yeah.
the work that
That
those
they
people
do,
are
yeah.
doing in the community.
Oh, yeah.
The recruitment's very difficult, retention's very difficult, and
especially
it's nice
now.
for people to feel appreciated, that people are recognizing the
Yeah.
work they're doing.
Yeah.
So now, when Dr. Cooper left, it must have left a hole in the. Did it mess things up over there?
Well, it was a
We
significant
all felt a
change.
loss. Of
course you
Everybody
did.
felt close, and Dr.
Yeah.
Gillis is there now in
Oh, you know,
Antigonish.
good.
But Dr. Cooper had a long-term relationship for the area,
course.
and we just got to see him recently at the provincial conference.
Yeah, I was
he's-
thinking in Bridgewater you probably
he's-
saw him.
He's doing well down in Yarmouth, and they had gone without service for a long
Long time.
time. So he really made it his mission to build up the service.
I interviewed him before he
area.
left. And,
Yes, you did.
And he is such a delight.
Yeah.
Yes.
What a wonderful person.
Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful man.
It was really his calling, I think, doing the palliative
Yeah.
care work.
Yeah, not everybody.
And I think the professionals that work, hands-on palliative care, that takes a very special person to do that. But those that do it really well. You know, we're very fortunate locally The people that work out of Strait Richmond Hospital, you will never find better ones.
Oh, well, I mean, you look at, you were talking about the 40 to 50%.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, they're a big
it
part
just,
of how
it just
that
goes on,
happens.
doesn't it?
It
Yeah,
does.
Of
they're a big
course.
part of making that happen.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, what more could a person ask for than to be cared about? I mean,
And to have your wishes.
Honored.
Honored,
Yes, yes,
absolutely.
yes. Yeah.
Now, what is it? I mean, what kind of fundraising could you do to make a big amount of money to help everybody?
Well, we're really lucky because we're a group of small volunteers. We're not kind of well equipped to put on big events
course
like
not.
some of the other areas.
get it.
Other areas of the province have hospices and,
get it.
and paid staff and who do that fundraising piece. I think that's, as you mentioned before, the generosity of the people in this area. The donations that we get from people have really been able to sustain a lot of our programming. So we just keep plugging away, doing those small little awareness things, and people can donate online. And so luckily, we don't have to do really try to pull together really big events to get the
because that's a
funds
lot.
to keep us going.
That's
Yeah,
a lot when
yeah.
you have to do that and you're in a
Yeah.
small group. I get it.
And it's yeah, go ahead.
No,
Mary.
I was just going to say, and occasionally we do get a fairly large donation
Excellent.
from individuals. They
Perfect.
usually want to be
Anonymous.
anonymous, right? But still, and they do. And sometimes they say, we would like the money spent this way, or they will say, spend it
Do
any
whatever
way
you
you want.
want.
You know, and whichever. We're always very grateful, and we're, you know, but it's, you know, whether it's a $25,000 donation or a $25 donation, it's appreciated.
Of course.
You know, and it's important, and the $25 ones are just as important sometimes.
And it comes back. It
Yeah,
goes back
yeah,
because
yeah.
then if rooms get refurbished in the hospital,
Yeah.
if equipment that they don't have money for is supplied, you know, if people who are in palliative care at home get things that they need at home, it all comes back. So it's kind of a full
it does.
circle.
It
Because you
is,
never
yeah.
really
It
know
is.
till you get there, do you? What
No.
people actually need
Or what?
No.
or
Yeah.
wish for.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Because some things, the littlest things, can make a person happy.
Yeah.
You know.
The day that Louise had come up with the idea of the phone charger, that wasn't something we had thought about
Oh,
for the
great
family
idea.
room.
That's a
and
very good
It just
idea.
happened the day that
Yeah.
I delivered it. There was a family there, so
That
I
needed
just
it.
excused myself and said what I was doing. And the lady said, whoever thought of that needs a gold star.
Oh, see?
Because I was here yesterday for 3 hours and I was
Okay,
losing my phone
so-
charge.
Yeah.
And that's how I kept in touch with the family and updated
Yeah.
people. So little, something like a $30 item can make a big difference to a family.
Yeah, everything. Everything counts, you know.
Yep.
Everything counts.
And even like the furnishing of the palliative care rooms, that can run into quite a bit of money sometimes, because the rooms are made to look a lot less institutional and more like a regular bedroom, right? But for a lot of them, we're putting in ceiling lifts, and they cost a lot of money. Plus the special beds. What are those beds
The
called?
cuddle beds,
Cuddle
the
beds.
foundation supported in providing the cuddle beds. And yeah, everything in those rooms has to be to hospital standards and meet safety
Oh,
standards.
yes, of course.
Yeah.
So you just can't
Be
go to the
washable.
local store and pick up an item. It's,
Yeah.
yeah.
It has to, yeah, it does.
But how wonderful that you can actually do these things, though.
It's a blessing.
is.
You get to see. You
Yeah.
really get to see where the money goes and know that local people are benefiting from it. We were lucky enough to get a Healing Pathways grant. That was through the provincial palliative care. They have a program again with money from the Mass Casualty Commission. They give grants to help with address grief, and so we use that
Wonderful.
money for the comfort teas and some education. And then something we hadn't gotten to talk about yet was a new area is the legacy work.
Yeah.
So we had used some of that money. We have
Ah,
our little legacy bears. So if a person
I love them.
is in palliative care and they would choose to do this, we have little recorders and they can record a message to a child or a grandchild, and it goes in the bear, and then we personalize the bear how they would like it. Someone recently had necklaces done with nicknames of the grandchildren on each bear. But, and then it just becomes a personal connection to pass on to that person. So that's one of the newer programs we've had. And then the other thing we're encouraging with the legacy work is we had purchased some of these journals, this Life of Mine journals, because we thought some of the people in the program might like to be documenting things for family. But then we recognized it's helpful for everybody.
Absolutely.
To be given some of those thoughts, talking about your childhood, things you've liked, your experiences in life. Mary got a journal, and
Well,
it's kind of,
I got one of these. I love it. And when I got it and I looked at it, I went online and I ordered 4 more for my sisters
course.
because I knew that. But what it is it's wonderful because it allows you to sit back and reminisce, remember your childhood. So there's sections in there that talk about, you know, the family you come from, your parents, your grandparents, your siblings, and so on. What your childhood was like, what games you played, who you played with, what school you went to, what that was like, high school. It goes on through your whole life. And I found with mine, I have this by my chair, and every night I take it out, and for about an hour I write in it. I never thought, I'm not somebody that to do something like that really.
Wow.
But it's been just great.
And healing.
Oh,
It
not
is.
just healing, but just remembering all those, and what it does for me is tell me how I'm so grateful for the childhood I had, for the people I had in my life growing up.
Yes.
And not everybody has, you know, happy memories and so on, but I have some not so happy memories. I haven't recorded them yet, but I'll get to them at some point. You know what I mean?
Recently, well, not so much recently, in the last 4 months, what I've been doing here is digitizing the Telile library. And so I've been uploading everything to YouTube and sharing them. And I have had the most wonderful experiences with that. You know, I had
You get to relive it.
I had one young girl. I just watched the video that you uploaded. It's my grandmother, and I had never heard her voice, and I had never
what I
seen
was
her.
just
I had
gonna
never
say.
seen her in person, moving. I see pictures.
Oh, she died before she was born.
And she said, and there's picture. She said I had seen pictures, and she's speaking inside the house that burned down after.
Wow.
Wow.
And she said I can see all of her stuff, and I can hear her. And she said, you have no idea how much that means to me.
I can imagine.
And I was like, wow. And then I had another lady wrote to me, and she said, I cannot believe it, but you actually, my mother has Alzheimer's, and she's relatively young. And she said, you had a video of her mother speaking. And she said, I took it to her in the nursing home where she's at, and my sister and I, it was just like she had never lost her memory. She spoke to us all afternoon like she was.
Well, the thing with Alzheimer's too, oftentimes what the losses are of recent memory.
Right.
So oftentimes childhood or young adult
Yeah.
memories are intact.
Anyway,
and that's why it's really helpful when you're visiting
Yeah.
with somebody with Alzheimer's is to help them reminisce.
It's a really good example of different types of legacy. Not everybody wants to
Absolutely.
write into a book, but
Right.
we recently
Yeah.
talked to a lady, her granddaughter lives in Halifax, and so she has a similar book. And so when the granddaughter comes home to visit, part of it is them talking about
Yeah.
things in the book. The
Perfect.
granddaughter records her on the phone.
That's wonderful.
And goes back and then
Fills
writes it
it
in the
in.
journal for her
Wonderful.
grandmother.
Wonderful.
But it's just all these conversations
Yeah.
that are happening because of the book. That
Yeah.
Right.
yeah.
You know,
My mother kept a journal.
yeah.
And oftentimes it was mostly just, it wasn't personal so much as, you know, the weather today and
Yep.
so-and-so dropped by. But every now and then there's a gem.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And she kept it for like 20 years.
Yeah.
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 So it's my sister has them all now, and it's a very precious possession in the family. Yeah.
But I mean, those are things that not everybody does,
No.
right? Like not everybody's comfortable with that.
Yeah. And like I said, I don't think she didn't pour out her soul every day.
Right,
You know,
right.
a lot of it was just mundane things. You know, I went and got groceries or whatever.
Yeah,
that
but
kind
at
of
least
thing.
but she wrote it.
Yeah.
It was
she
a
did.
habit.
Yeah.
And then
And her
if-
handwriting is so wonderful to read something
Yeah.
in her handwriting.
Yeah.
Because my mother had Alzheimer's disease, and one of the things that happens as Alzheimer's progresses is that your handwriting really deteriorates, and it gets tiny, tiny. And the last time I saw her sign her name, it was like this big.
Oh, yeah.
But she had the most beautiful hand, you know, when she was younger. So I love reading things that she wrote out by hand because she had beautiful handwriting.
Yeah.
I just extend thank you to the community.
Yes.
We're only able to do this
Yeah.
because
Because
people are
People
supporting
donate.
and
They're generous. They're so generous.
and very generous. And hopefully through this, people will realize that we do a whole lot of things that people wouldn't have thought of, as Anne Louise pointed out at the
Yes,
beginning.
yes.
Whether you like flowers or you like Facebook posts or doing workshops or there's
One-
so
and-
many different things that
Well, I
a
have to tell you, I'm
redecorating
in love with
committee.
that bear is what I'm in
One
love
last
with.
thing I want to say is this. I'm retired like 10 years plus. And I've been on a lot of committees and done a lot of things over the years. This is the best group of people I have ever been a part of. Without exception, all wonderful, caring, generous, pleasant, easy people to work with. This is the best group I've ever worked with. And I've been around. You know, like I've done lots of things over the years, but I'm not kidding. And some of the people in that group I consider to be very dear friends. You know, like they mean a lot. They mean a lot to me in my life. So
Like Derek is the chair and Nancy secretary, Cameron, Derek and Nancy Cameron. They keep the meetings on task.
yeah.
They keep it, short and sweet, but everybody then breaks out and does things after the meeting.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's well run, and it starts at the top, and it goes very positive, and,
Yeah.
and it goes throughout the whole committee.
Well, it should always be positive, shouldn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a huge time commitment,
No.
and people
No,
are
and
people are always welcome to just come to a meeting and
So
then
now,
decide.
if people wanted to volunteer, they can do that.
Yep,
There's lots
absolutely.
of. I mean, no volunteer work is too
No.
big or too
No.
small, right?
Exactly.
If you
Yes.
if you have the time to do it.
And nobody's turned away. If you think
course
you'd be
not.
interested in belonging to the committee, come to a meeting.
Yeah.
And if you like it, stay. You know?
You might decide you just want to help out in the garden.
Yeah.
And
That's right.
And,
or you might just want to help with the comfort teas.
The comfort
Or you
teas,
might
or-
just
yeah.
want to whatever, and the thing is, we all have our little jobs too.
And two of our members, without naming them, they do sit with patients at the hospital.
yes, there are people who have
They do, they're trained.
that's part of you.
That's
you,
a special. That's
they're
a special.
trained
that
to
is
sit with
special.
patients.
And you go through the Department of Health. You
course.
become a patient volunteer by going through the Department of Health process, and
Yeah, and they don't exclusively visit palliative care patients. They visit any
Really,
patients in the
yeah.
hospital.
And also Joey Janega, who is not officially on the palliative care committee, but he does help out in the garden at
yeah,
the
Joey's been
hospital.
wonderful
He
in
does some major work.
revitalizing the garden.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it had fallen
The
by the
heavy work.
wayside over COVID times,
It
and
will-
so
it
it's
will,
nice.
though, right?
It's nice to see it coming
Coming
back.
back.
Well,
yeah.
it'll be next week. I'm waiting to plant the flowers here next week.
Oh, yes.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Well, I let my fine young summer student plant the flowers because he's the best. He's the best kid ever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying about the volunteering because I would like to see some young people get involved.
Absolutely.
It would really help them, wouldn't it?
It would.
Oh,
It would,
yes.
yeah.
It would help them.
absolutely.
It makes them better citizens.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It really does make them better citizens. I was at a cadet meeting last night, or like an annual, like an inspection banquet, and I'm always so amazed at these kids. Though the kids that do things together, that volunteer and do things together, like in volunteering groups, they seem to be better rounded.
Yeah, and I think that it helps to keep
Of
you
course it
healthier
does. Of course. Of
because
course, mentally
Absolutely.
healthier.
we're all going to have loss through our lives. And
Absolutely.
if you're more aware of it and have some strategies to help you deal with it when it comes, then that's
And you're around people who don't avoid it or don't try to pretend it's not there. But, it's part of life.
It is. Well, of course, you live, you born, and then you die.
Yeah.
I mean, it's what you do with your life in between that's important.
Yeah.
Dying with dignity, that makes sense to me. That makes sense to me.
And we're also recognizing, we hadn't talked about it during the comfort teas, but different subsets of people who have specific types of loss. Recently, we hosted a rainbow comfort tea at the community college because there's certain types of losses that that come with your life in that community.
Yes.
It even came up during that one of the attendees talked about losing people in an addictions group, and you can't share that grief because of privacy. But it's a very significant type of loss, and there's some activity happening soon because it's been on our radar for a couple of years about newcomers.
Right.
Because you come from another country or another part of the country,
Right.
you've given up family, you've given
Yeah.
up food, you've given up traditions, and those are all losses while you're trying to figure out your way in a new area.
Yeah.
So,
They've given up home.
yeah, they've given up home.
I thought about that. I thought about that a lot when the war in Ukraine broke out and the Ukrainian people.
Absolutely.
We have a lot of Ukrainian people
Just
here.
uprooted, and in a new country, not
Oh,
speaking
yeah.
the language.
Yeah, very difficult.
Not having their
knowing what's
traditional
happening
food.
at home. Oh
Not-
my
yeah.
gosh. You can't even, you know,
Yeah.
It's
It's like the Syrian family in Antigonish too. I mean, I read the book, Piece by Chocolate Book.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
My goodness, what
Yeah.
those people went through.
Yeah. Yeah.
And how the adjustment that they made here was amazing.
Yeah, so just an open invitation for anybody that would have an interest.
Well, I would
to
say
contact
that,
us.
you know, as soon as I can free up some time, I'll be there to help you. You never know. Yeah, so I can't think of a more fulfilling group to join, you know, to help out. I can't. I really can't. I mean, what a blessing you guys are. So thank you.
It's a blessing to do.
Thank you
Well,
for all you
See,
do.
but the thing is, we get as much out of it as we
Yes.
put in.
Right.
Probably more.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's
That's very
great, but
true.
I mean, for all those people that help you, you know, thank you. Because you deserve all the help you can get. And the people that you're serving, I can't imagine how appreciative they must be. Yeah, so bless you all.
Thank you.
Do take care.
Same to you.